The Nocteri warship emerged from hyperspace like a predator breaking through waves, its obsidian hull absorbing starlight rather than reflecting it. Commander Darian Walsh stood on the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Resilient, watching the alien vessel with steady eyes that betrayed none of the anxiety churning in his stomach. "Their weapons are powered but not targeted," reported Lieutenant Santos from her tactical station. "They're making a statement." Walsh nodded slowly. The Nocteri had been doing this for weeks now, appearing at the edges of human colony systems, demonstrating their superior technology, then demanding immediate evacuation of what they called primitive species from valuable space. Each encounter had ended the same way, with human ships forced to retreat or be destroyed. "Open a channel," Walsh ordered, straightening his uniform. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the Nocteri commander. Like all their species, Supreme Commander Vashnar had iridescent scales that shifted colors with emotion, and 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern. Right now, those scales were pulsing with a deep purple that humans had learned to associate with contempt. "This is Commander Walsh of the EDV Resilient. You are in violation of recognized human territory. State your purpose." Vashnar's scales rippled. "Your recognized territory means nothing to us, human. Your species barely understands quantum mechanics, yet you claim rights to systems you can barely reach. We have watched your kind stumble through space like children playing with matches." Walsh's jaw tightened. Behind him, he could hear his crew's breathing quicken with anger. The Nocteri's dismissive attitude toward humanity had become all too familiar. They saw Earth's relatively young space presence as proof of inferiority, ignoring the remarkable speed with which humans had advanced. "We may be younger than your civilization," Walsh responded, "but this sector is our home. We have colonies here, families. We won't abandon them. Your primitive settlements are an inefficient use of valuable resources," Vashnar stated. "You have 24 Earth hours to begin evacuation procedures. After that, we will remove you ourselves." The transmission cut off abruptly. Walsh turned to his crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. "Sound general quarters. Contact the colony on New Haven. Begin civilian evacuation procedures, but make it clear we're not surrendering the system." As klaxons blared and his crew rushed to battle stations, Walsh studied the tactical display. The Resilient was a formidable ship by human standards, the newest class of defense vessel, equipped with the best technology Earth could produce. But against Nocteri ships, they were outmatched in almost every way. Almost. "Sir," Santos called out, "I've been analyzing their shield frequencies. There's something odd about their modulation patterns." Walsh moved to her station. "Explain." "They're incredibly advanced, but also rigid. They follow the same precise patterns every time. It's like they've optimized their technology so much that they've lost adaptability." Walsh felt a familiar spark of human ingenuity ignite in his mind. "Can we use that?" Santos' fingers flew across her console. "Maybe. Their shields are strongest against direct energy weapons, the kind they expect us to use. But if we modified our torpedo guidance systems to exploit the predictable gaps in their modulation." "Make it happen," Walsh ordered. He returned to his command chair, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The Nocteri thought humans were primitive, incapable of competing with their advanced civilization. But they had made a crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, to find solutions where none seemed to exist. "All hands," Walsh announced shipwide. "Prepare for combat. The Nocteri think we're primitive, that we'll run and hide. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we show them that humanity's worth isn't measured by the age of our technology, but by the strength of our resolve." The next 24 hours would determine not just the fate of New Haven, but perhaps the future of human-Nocteri relations. Walsh intended to make every second count. Lieutenant Prisha Mehta crouched in the shadows of the Nocteri space station's maintenance tunnel, her active camouflage suit blending seamlessly with the metallic walls. 3 days had passed since Commander Walsh's stand at New Haven, and while his innovative tactics had bloodied the Nocteri's nose, humanity needed more than a temporary victory. They needed intelligence. "Target approaching," whispered Sergeant Reed through their neural comm. 2 guards, standard patrol pattern. Prisha remained motionless as the Nocteri guards passed beneath her position. Their scales gleamed with the confident green of creatures who believed themselves completely secure in their own territory. That arrogance was exactly what her team was counting on. Once the patrol passed, Prisha dropped silently to the deck. Her team had spent months studying Nocteri movement patterns, learning to predict their behaviors. The aliens' rigid adherence to protocol, the very thing that made them powerful, also made them predictable. "Control room is 20 meters ahead," reported Private Chen from his observation post. "Security systems are running their diagnostic cycle. We have a 3-minute window." Prisha moved swiftly through the corridors, her enhanced muscles allowing her to stay in the blind spots of the Nocteri sensor grid. The aliens had dismissed human biotechnology as crude and inefficient, never considering that its very simplicity made it harder to detect than their own sophisticated enhancements. The control room doors slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, a single Nocteri technician sat before a sprawling holographic display, their scales showing the deep blue of focused concentration. Prisha moved like a ghost, pressing her neural disruptor against the alien's neck. The Nocteri slumped forward, unconscious before they could raise an alarm. "I'm in," Prisha reported, her fingers dancing across the alien console. The neural interface she wore translated the Nocteri symbols into something her human brain could process. Beginning data extraction. What she found made her blood run cold. The Nocteri weren't just trying to claim human territory. They were systematically analyzing human technology, human biology, human behavior. They were looking for weaknesses to exploit, ways to efficiently eliminate humanity as a species. But in their arrogance, they had made a critical mistake. Their analysis assumed human technology would develop along the same rigid paths as their own. They couldn't conceive of humanity's tendency to take unexpected approaches, to solve problems in ways that defied conventional logic. "Lieutenant," Chen's voice carried an edge of urgency. "Patrol schedule shows in supervisor inspection in 2 minutes." Prisha downloaded the last of the data, then planted a small device behind the main console. It looked like a simple explosive, exactly what the Nocteri would expect from primitive humans. In reality, it was something far more sophisticated. A quantum resonance scanner that would map their entire command and control network. "Package is delivered," she reported. "Beginning extraction." As her team regrouped in the maintenance tunnels, Prisha reviewed the stolen data. The Nocteri's plans were ambitious, but they were based on a fundamental misconception. They saw humanity's resourcefulness as a weakness, our adaptability as a lack of proper development. They didn't understand that humans thrived on challenges, grew stronger when faced with adversity. "Control, this is Shadow Strike," Prisha transmitted as her team reached their stealth shuttle. "Mission accomplished. We have their playbook, and they don't even know they've lost it." As the shuttle slipped away from the station, Prisha allowed herself a small smile. The Nocteri thought they were dealing with primitives, but they were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology. It was in their ability to turn any weakness into an advantage. Research Director Jun Nakamura hadn't left his lab on Luna Base for 3 days, not since Lieutenant Meta's team had delivered the Nocteri data. Dark circles shadowed his eyes as he stared at the holographic models floating before him. But there was an almost manic energy in his movements as he manipulated the displays. "Show me the shield modulation patterns again," he commanded, and the AI complied, displaying waves of energy that pulsed with mathematical precision. Behind him, Admiral Harrison waited with barely contained impatience. "Do you have something, Nakamura? The Nocteri are pushing harder every day. We need answers." Jun allowed himself a small smile. "What I have, Admiral, is proof that the Nocteri's greatest strength is actually their greatest weakness." He gestured at the display. Look at their technology. It's perfect, too perfect. They've optimized every system to its theoretical maximum efficiency. But in doing so, they've lost something crucial: flexibility. He pulled up another display, this one showing human shield technology. Our shields are messier, less efficient. We waste energy, have gaps in coverage that we compensate for with overlapping fields. The Nocteri see this as primitive, but they're missing the point. Our inefficient approach means we can adapt, change tactics mid-battle. Their perfect systems are locked into their patterns. Admiral Harrison leaned forward, studying the displays. How does this help us? Their entire civilization is built on this principle of perfect optimization, Jun explained, pulling up more data. Their ships, their weapons, their tactics. Everything follows precise, predictable patterns. They've eliminated chaos from their systems, but in doing so, they've become vulnerable to it. He brought up footage from Commander Walsh's battle at New Haven. See how Walsh's modified torpedoes slipped through their shields. That wasn't just good tactics. It worked because the Nocteri literally cannot conceive of weapons behaving imperfectly. Their defense systems are designed to counter optimal attack patterns. Throw something unpredictable at them, and their perfect defenses become useless. Harrison finished, beginning to understand. Jun nodded eagerly. But it goes deeper than that. Look at their biology. He displayed scans of Nocteri physiology. They've engineered themselves the same way they've engineered their technology. Perfect efficiency. Perfect optimization. They've eliminated what they saw as evolutionary weaknesses, but they've also eliminated their ability to adapt to new circumstances. While humans, Harrison mused, are all about adaptation. Exactly. Jun's excitement was palpable now. Our primitive biology, our inefficient technology. These aren't weaknesses, they're advantages. We can adapt, improvise, overcome. The Nocteri have locked themselves into a single path of development. They've become so advanced that they've lost the ability to take steps backward, to try different approaches. He pulled up a final display, this one showing the new weapon design. I've been working on something. It's crude by their standards, unpredictable, almost chaotic in its operation. But that's exactly why it will work. They won't see it coming because they can't see it coming. Their perfect sensors are calibrated to detect perfect weapons. Admiral Harrison studied the design, a slow smile spreading across his face. How soon can you have a prototype ready? 24 hours, Jun replied. But I'll need resources, and I'll need Lieutenant Meta's team. What I'm building, it's not just a weapon. It's a proof of concept. A demonstration that humanity's greatest strength isn't in trying to match the Nocteri's perfection. It's in embracing our imperfection. As Harrison left to make the arrangements, Jun turned back to his displays. The Nocteri thought they had humanity figured out, had dismissed them as primitive beings stumbling through space. But they were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the one with the most advanced technology. It's the one who can think outside the patterns, who can turn supposed weaknesses into unprecedented strengths. Captain Marcus Rivera stood on the bridge of the EDV Defiant, watching as the largest Nocteri fleet ever assembled dropped out of hyperspace. 50 ships, each one more advanced than anything humanity had ever built, arranged themselves in a perfect geometric pattern. It should have been intimidating. Instead, Rivera felt a surge of anticipation. They're broadcasting. Lieutenant Santos reported from her station, transferred to the Defiant after the Battle of New Haven. The Supreme Commander wishes to speak. Put them through, Rivera ordered, straightening his uniform. The holographic display materialized, showing Supreme Commander Vashnar. The Nocteri leader's scales rippled with confident gold. This is your final opportunity to surrender, Vashnar announced. We have calculated a 99.8% probability of your total defeat. Your continued resistance is illogical. Rivera smiled. You know what's fascinating about that calculation, Supreme Commander? You're absolutely right. if we fought the way you expect us to fight. But that's not what's going to happen today." Before Vashner could respond, Rivera gave the signal. Across his fleet, Jun Nakamura's devices activated. They weren't weapons in the traditional sense. They were chaos engines designed to create patterns that defied the Nocteri's perfect predictions. Energy fields rippled in ways that shouldn't be possible. Sensor readings fluctuated randomly, and communication frequencies danced across the spectrum. The effect on the Nocteri fleet was immediate. Their perfect formation began to waver as their systems tried to compensate for data they couldn't process. Their shields, optimized for specific attack patterns, fluctuated as they attempted to adapt to threats that didn't follow any logical sequence. "All ships, execute Operation Wildcard," Rivera commanded. The human fleet broke formation, each ship moving in seemingly random patterns developed through hundreds of simulations. They weren't trying to match the Nocteri's precision. They were deliberately avoiding it. Prisha Meta's intel had been perfect. The Nocteri's ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't handle the unpredictability. Their targeting systems, designed to predict and counter optimal attack vectors, struggled to track ships that moved chaotically. Their perfect defenses, calibrated for maximum efficiency, couldn't adapt to weapons that deliberately functioned below peak performance. "This is impossible." Vashnar's scales had shifted to a confused purple. "Your tactics defy all strategic logic. Your weapons violate fundamental principles of efficient design." "That's humanity's greatest strength," Rivera replied as his fleet pressed their advantage. "We've never been bound by what you consider logical or efficient. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome. Your civilization chose perfect optimization. We chose endless possibility." The battle that followed would be studied for generations. Human ships darted through the Nocteri formation like wildcards in a perfectly ordered deck, disrupting their carefully calculated patterns. Nakamura's chaos engines created holes in their defenses that no conventional weapon could have found. And through it all, the Nocteri remained locked in their rigid protocols, unable to comprehend, let alone counter, the deliberate imperfection of human tactics. When the last Nocteri ship surrendered, their formation broken and their certainty shattered, Rivera opened a channel to their entire fleet. "Your mistake wasn't in thinking you were more advanced than us," he told them. "Your mistake was in thinking that advancement only moves in one direction. You chose to eliminate chaos, to pursue perfect optimization. We chose to embrace uncertainty, to maintain our ability to adapt and change." He paused, letting his words sink in. "This doesn't have to end in destruction. Humanity is offering you a choice. Continue this war, locked in your patterns of perfection, or open yourselves to new possibilities. Learn from us as we learn from you, because the universe isn't perfect or predictable, and neither are we." As the Nocteri fleet stood down, Rivera thought about the journey that had brought them here. Commander Walsh's desperate stand, Lieutenant Meta's daring infiltration, Director Nakamura's brilliant insight, each had played a part in showing that humanity's perceived weaknesses were actually their greatest strengths. The Nocteri had thought themselves unmatched, had dismissed humanity as primitive and inefficient, but in doing so, they had learned a lesson that would reshape their civilization. True strength lies not in achieving perfection, but in maintaining the ability to change, to adapt, to embrace the beautiful chaos of possibility.